Welcome, beautiful teachers, to day 5 of our Vibrant Music Teaching 7th birthday celebrations, plus co-birthdayed our Vivid Practice 1st birthday celebrations. Yeah, 1 year of Vivid Practice. I can hardly believe. Last September was it was a pretty crazy month. I'll just put it that way. And I can hardly believe it's a year ago. It feels simultaneously longer, like several years ago, and like it just happened. But yeah, last September I was gearing up to go to Canada and we were launching Vivid Practice and everything was on the go. And this September is a little bit calmer, which is welcome. So this is day 5 of our birthday celebrations. In 2 days, it is Vibrant Music Teaching's 7th birthday on Wednesday, and I've got a very special announcement at that final live, so make sure you put that in your calendar if you're able to be here a couple of hours later. No, 1 hour later, I don't know. I'm not going to attempt to keep track. I think it's the same time as this on Wednesday. You can check the calendar. It's slightly later. I've just remembered. It's slightly later than this on Wednesday. But you can check the member calendar if you're a member, or you can watch your email inbox if you're not a member. So, yeah, really big announcement, and you're going to want to be in the loop for that one, because if you miss out on it, I don't think you're going to be happy. Not that you have to be live, but like if you watch the video soon after it's live, if you're not available at that time, I think that'd be a good idea. Today, we are inspired by the Great Barrier Reef to reach for new things, because the Great Barrier Reef is full of wonders and new things we can discover and things we need to look after, right? So we're being inspired to reach for new things. How many of you in the chat regularly include new resources or ideas in your teaching? And how many of you purchase or download or in other ways acquire new stuff, ideas or physical stuff that you want to include in lessons and then you keep putting off actually doing it? Which camp are you in? Emma is in the house. Hi, Emma. Admin day and printing games. Okay, fun day. Good morning. I guess I'm hoping, Denise, that if you're in Minnesota, that means you're going to be able to make it to MTNA next March, and maybe we'll meet there. It's in Minneapolis. It'll be my first time properly in Minnesota. I've been on a train that went, I'm pretty sure, through Minnesota, but I haven't stopped there, I don't think. Couple of new students this afternoon. Oh, exciting. Morning to you, Jill. Great to see you here. Oh, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, it was a huge, epic August project to put together the initial launch of the Vivid Practice collection stuff. So these are these assignments that we've pre-made, and I recorded videos to go along with a bunch of stuff directed towards students so that they use them in their practice, and you can just use those to share with your students. And it was fun, but it was pretty epic in terms of putting it all together and setting up each assignment individually. But it was great, and I'm glad to get those things out there. So, do we find time for new stuff? Do you do too much new stuff? Do you do not enough new stuff? How do you feel about it? Try to test out one new thing in lesson per week. Very nice strategy. Not to get overwhelmed. Do tend to get all the new stuff and try to use them right. Planning for teaching starting again this Saturday. Very nice. Hope you're enjoying that, Joanna. Love new ideas and try them out for a while and then eventually forget about them. Oh yeah, that's another take that I didn't think of. Sometimes I create my own new resources. Sometimes I pick them up from other creators. I'll admit that it usually takes a couple of months to onboard anything new with students in lessons. Yeah, it takes a couple of months to actually get them in, right? So, I think before we think about how we find time for new stuff, let's acknowledge that you don't need all the new things. So the graphic I shared on Instagram and Facebook today about this video had underpants in it. Underwear, whatever you want to call them. I know we all have different words, but This was a thing from South Park, and I am not a big South Park person, but it was referenced in a blog I used to read, and I just think it's a great visual. So it's called Collecting Underpants. And again, if you are a South Park fan, maybe you'll get the reference more than I even would. I had to read about it. South Park was never my thing. But collecting underpants. Just collecting them and never using them. Just collecting new ideas and never putting them into practice doesn't get us anywhere. And I think a lot of teachers fall into this, oh, this new thing looks really cool, so I have to instantly get it, whether that's purchase it or whether it's just download it for free, it's off a blog, whatever it is, you get it. And then you're just collecting these files. And then I get all these questions from teachers saying, how do I organize my digital files? My answer is that shouldn't be as big of a deal because like the sheet music, I don't collect digital sheet music that I, like, for example, single use licenses. I only buy them when I'm about to print it instantly and use it with the student right now. I never buy it just to save it. And I do think that's a good general policy, that we buy stuff almost just in time. You could have somewhere you save these things if you feel like, no, but sometimes my inspiration runs dry and I want somewhere to look. Well, then set up a Pinterest board or save them in Instagram or wherever you like to look at these things. But let's not download all the things and then attempt to find a way to manage them all. Use new music very often. I think it's important to support current composers and creatives. Absolutely, yes. Again, my thing is just I purchase it right when I'm going to use it. So if there's a new composer I come across, I'll save their details and then explore when I'm looking for new music. And then download that and put it somewhere. But if it's a studio license, and if it's a single license, I'm just printing it instantly and giving it to a student, so I don't need to worry about the files. I get so many every couple of years. I delete lots of the less used ones. Yeah, that's the thing. So there's a cost to that, right? On our time. There's a time tax to having too much stuff. It's one of the reasons I created Vibrant Music Teaching is I wanted it to live on a website, all these games, so that we could download them when we actually wanted to try the new one. And otherwise just be safe in the knowledge that they're there in a library and we don't have to download them in order to have them. They're organized for us and we can leave them there, right? Yeah. But then when it comes to trying to fit in new things, how do we do that? I think it's good to first ask ourselves whether the thing is really a priority. So especially if it's a new category of things, we're thinking to ourselves, oh, I don't do enough AR training, or I really want to incorporate improvisation or lead sheets or whatever the thing is, right? Maybe it's reading. It tends not to be reading that we don't find time for. So if we're thinking that, we need to be real with ourselves. Is that a priority? How much of my lessons as a percentage do I want to be spending on reading, improvisation, or whatever your categories are? How should that break down in terms of the percentage? And that doesn't mean that you're going to stick to that religiously or set off timers on your phone to switch to improv because it's been 5% of the lesson. I'm just saying, could we have an intention that's a percentage of time? And they'll be different for different levels, but as a general idea, as a way of thinking about, do I prioritize this thing? And I think the value of that to me is when you lay it out and you see that to fit in whatever, we were talking about playing modes the other day, right? To fit in teaching modes to students, we need to take 5% away or 10% away from reading. And maybe when we look at it, that means we're left with 40% reading. And in a 30-minute lesson, that means this much time. And then we come down to, okay, you have to make a decision. Because if that looks like I couldn't possibly teach what I want to teach about reading in that time, then you have to deprioritize some other things. We have to actually look at it. And it's not to guilt you or to control yourself. It's actually so that you can say to yourself, I'm already doing the best I can with the time I have available and the resources I have available. Because if we don't take a real look at it like that, then we spend our whole time going, oh, but why am I finding time to do Solfa? And we're just causing ourselves agony for no reason. I happen to think Solfa is really important and I do fit it into my lessons. But maybe for you, if you really look at the numbers, it's not important. Maybe. And that doesn't have to be the wrong answer. It can just be something we're realistic about. Or we can take some of those things that we're like, well, they're not actually the top of my list, but I have a few of those. So maybe for a month, you take, your small chunk of time and you do one of those things and then you rotate to the other one and then the other one so that you're covering them a bit, right? Because they're like a secondary priority. There's different ways of thinking about this stuff, but that's one way that I think can be useful to really be real with yourself and say, does this matter to me that much? So if it does, and you're just not in the habit of doing it, like improvisation is a big one for me, so I'll keep coming back to that because I think it should be in all lessons. So if I fall out of the habit of doing it, or I have a new teacher working here and I'm trying to get them to do it, or back when I was first putting improv into my lessons, the answer is very simple. I just do it first. It might sound overly simple, but that's the truth. We just do it first. We do the improvisation first, if that's the thing I'm having trouble fitting in. But you can't have multiples of that you're trying to add at once, right? Okay, keep the thoughts and chat coming on this idea of how do we fit in new stuff? How do I prioritize correctly for what we really want for our studio and our students? And I'm going to draw a name from the chat. So I'm just catching up with the chat now, and then I'll draw a name so you've a second to comment if you haven't already. Yeah, this is my point, Jill. Again, no judgment because we all do this. But it will still be there. I don't know of any composer. You have to download the concept collections from our site if you want the studio license version and you're a member. That's a bit different. But if you're actually buying it, I don't know of a composer who says you can't buy it next week, right? So I only buy it when I'm ready to print it out and give it to a student right away. One of my pedagogy shared the percentage tip with me too. Oh, I mean, I'm sure we've all come across the same, come up with the same idea. It's just one way of looking at it, yeah. Definitely is a balancing act, for sure. Solfa sidestep for the first time this week as my new thing. Yes. I mean, we all know I go on and on about doing just one thing. Just do one thing. So if it's one new thing a week or a month, that's great. That's all you need. You don't have to do everything all at once. And that's a recipe for burnout when we try to do too much at once. But it's also a recipe for burnout when we never do anything new. So we have to find a pace that's good for us for bringing in a new game or a new idea each week or each month or each semester, depending on how we work. Okay, I'm going to scroll randomly through the chat. I'm going to pick someone and they're going to be the winner. And I want you all to vote on which color we're going to open. So it's yellow, blue, or purple today. So you vote on the color. I'm going to choose our winner. They have to still be live, so we'll see. But I think most people are still here. I'm not looking at the screen specifically, so I don't pick someone on purpose. It's Serena! Congratulations, Serena! So keep voting on the color we're going to open for Serena. Congratulations! Purple. Purple, please. Very polite of you. Serena voted for purple even. Oh, everyone wants purple. Oh my gosh. We're not very split today. There's a few yellows and there's no blues. Okay, purple it is. It's up the top. Okay, now, what do you think purple is? What do we think it is? Guesses in the chat. There's no prize for this. It's just for fun. And for gloating rights. Do I need my scissors today? I just got it. Okay. I'm unwrapping. Oh, I know it's all crinkly. I hope this sound doesn't bother you. Doesn't bother me, but I know it bothers some people. What's your least favorite sound? Just randomly, random question. What's your least favorite sound ever? Huh? I have a few, but I'll tell you them in a second. Okay, Serena has won. A complete set of Thinking Theory books. Congratulations, Serena. I had these in here, and if someone US or Canada based won them, I was going to offer to give them the American version. But Serena's in the UK, so I presume you'll want the UK terminology version. So these exact books will be heading over to you, Serena. Just please email support@vibrantmusicteaching.com to let me know your up-to-date address, just in case. Air conditioning sound. Oh my gosh. Convenient that you do live in the UK and not in the States. Exactly. Congratulations. Polystyrene. That's a good one. Lolly packets in the cinema. Oh, people opening things in the cinema is unacceptable. Unless it's at the start to get ready. Fingernails on polystyrene or nylon stockings. One of my least favorites, I'll give you two. One of them is cotton wool. It's like the feel and the sound is combined is one thing to me. And I hate it. And I won't use cotton wool. Which means that when I have to take nail polish off my fingernails, it takes ages because I use like a paper towel. And it's way less efficient than a cotton wool. But I just cannot rub cotton wool into my finger. It's just not going to happen. And the other one, nails on a chalkboard never bothers me at all. I mean, I don't like it, but it's not one of mine at all, even though it's the typical one. And the one is the sound of fingernail clippers. I've given you two finger related ones, probably just what I could think of. Since I thought of one, I thought of the other. But you know, clippers, I have to use the nail scissors, and I really don't like being around people using nail clippers. I know ages ago I've seen comments from piano teachers talking about students coming with nails that are too long and how they'll have a clippers on their piano and just insist that the student cuts them there. That's like my worst nightmare. So I would never do that. The fingernails bother me, but not as much as the clipping sound. Whistling. Okay, this is a good audience to ask this to, and I'm not going to call anyone out from my real life, from my local life, but unless it's like on a show or a recorded thing, I meet a lot of people who think they can whistle in tune, but are actually always flat. Is that just me? Is that just the people I know? Or does everyone whistle, nearly everyone whistle, quite a lot flat? I'd say it's like, not a full semitone because that would make sense to me. It's like a quarter tone flat or something. Yeah, fingernail clippers. Aren't they horrible? That sound, oh my gosh. And the sensation, like I also hate it being done to me because it like bends your nail. I just hate everything about them, once again. Cutting nails. Yeah, right? I don't know what it is. Okay. Maybe it's a particular piano teacher thing. Who knows? We all hate it. But yeah, the whistling thing, let me know, because my theory is that 95% of people who whistle and think they can whistle in tune are actually quite flat. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it. Okay, we have 2 more days of celebration left. So tomorrow we're at the same time as this, and then Wednesday we are 2.5 hours later than this. So again, members, you can look at the calendar on your member dashboard to see when specifically that is for you. But we have 2 more presents to open. So one tomorrow, one the next day. And then we've got a special surprise, which you can also kind of see there, but you have no idea what it is. And there's no way you're guessing what it is. I would be shocked if someone guessed this, because it's not something we've ever done before. So a couple of reminders before I let you go. If you haven't filled out our practice survey or sent it to parents in your studio, we would really appreciate it. We're looking to put together a report about practice in 2024. The survey is only 3 minutes, under 3 minutes, and you can find it at vibrantmusicteaching.com/practice. We also have currently tickets available for the retreat that I'm hosting here in Ireland, in the Irish countryside, for a very small group of teachers. We're talking around 10, depending on the specifics of who wants to share a room, etc. So very small, cozy, with beautiful views. It's happening next June, but I put the tickets up nice and early so that people have a chance to plan and get things in place. So there's an early bird rate until next month. I honestly have no idea when these tickets will disappear, how long they'll last for, because it's the first time we're ever doing this. So the event is called Keys and Trees Retreat. The website is keys, like piano keys, and A-N-D, trees, like trees with leaves on, right? keysandtrees.com. I'm glad you agree, Rachel. Sure, cheery, but when they're whistling along with something, can be bothersome. Anyway, thank you all for joining me today. I hope you'll do both those things, the practice survey and check out the retreat if you're interested in coming to Ireland as a business expense and maybe hanging out and traveling around. I can give you recommendations for what to do if you end up making a trip of it. And I will see you all tomorrow for more prizes and fun. Bye, everyone.